going on, Guardians? TBL here, coming back with the second part of our retrospective guide on the Vault of Glass. This is, of course, a quick and simple guide made for all of the Guardians who came in after year 1 and never really got a chance to play through this raid. Now, in the previous video, we left off on the Conflux phase, defending those structures from constantly spawning waves of Vex that are going to attempt to sacrifice themselves, and we basically showed you the exact strategy for doing that, splitting up into 3 teams of 2. And thankfully, the Oracle section isn't going to be much different. You're going to stick with those same 3 teams of 2, left side, right side, and mid. Only this time, you'll be surviving against waves of enemies while also trying to destroy objects called the Oracles, which will be spawning periodically before the Templar casts the Ritual of Negation. Now, if you've just completed the Conflux phase, the Oracle phase will immediately start. You'll get a text prompt stating that the Templar has summoned the Oracles, which you'll need to be paying attention to as we move forward in this phase, and 7 Oracles will spawn across the battlefield, showing you exactly where each Oracle is going to be placed. Your biggest job during this phase, other than surviving, is to destroy those Oracles when this prompt comes up. At the beginning of the encounter, you'll hear 7 distinct tones and see 7 balls of golden light appear briefly in 7 different locations around the room. This is basically the vault teaching you where these Oracles spawn and what they sound like so that you know what to look and listen for when the prompt comes up. Here's the general location for each of the Oracles. You've got 3 on right, 3 on left, and 1 in mid. For the right side, we've got hidden right, back right, and finally right stairs. The middle Oracle will spawn just a few feet forward and down the stairs from where the mid Conflux was. And then for left side, you've got hidden left, which you can see from mid, left stairs, which is in the back of the left side, and then far left. If you've played through the House of Wolves story mission Wolves Gambit, which takes place in the Vault of Glass, you'll know exactly what to look for. Once your team knows the location of the Oracles, it's basically time to just sit back, kill enemies, and destroy those Oracles when they spawn. If Oracles aren't killed within 10 seconds of spawning, they'll debuff every member of the raid team with Marked for Negation, identical to the same buff seen in the previous encounter. And just like before, if you have that debuff when the Templar casts the Ritual of Negation, you're gonna get wiped. So if your team misses an Oracle, they'll all have to head to mid to get a cleanse. And that's pretty much the gist of it. The most dangerous thing in this encounter, other than missing an Oracle or 2, is going to be the Hobgoblins that spawn on the far outside platforms of the battlefield. These Hobgoblins are going to respawn constantly, but it's worth your time to take them out as they can kill you pretty quickly. This is especially important for those Guardians protecting the right side, as they've got less places overall to hide in from the Hobgoblins. Alright, so you stay alive, make your rounds, and destroy the Oracles as they pop up, and you should be done with this section before too long. Now, Bungie did mention that they're going to be shortening the Oracle phase, as it does tend to take a little bit on the long side. But really, we're not quite sure what that means. Usually, it takes 7 rounds of Oracle spawns to finish this phase. And whether Bungie means that they're going to reduce that number from 7 to something else, or if they're just going to make the Oracle spawn faster, we're not entirely sure. All we know is that some sort of timing change is coming to this section when the raid comes out with the Age of Triumph. Another quick change to mention is that this section will also have supplicants added to it. So make sure you're on their toes there. After you successfully cleared the Oracles and made sure to not die towards the end, you'll get your loot from this section. In year 1, this section granted Ascendant Shards, Ascendant Energy, the Raid chest piece, gloves, and boots, and for weapons, it gave you the shotgun, the rocket launcher, the fusion rifle, the sniper rifle, or the pulse rifle. But alright, now that that's done, let's talk a bit about the Templar. Once you finish the Oracle encounter, you'll have a little bit of breathing time to kind of recollect your fire team, and a relic will spawn where the pool of light was before. The encounter will begin immediately after someone picks up that relic. Now, the mechanic for the Templar is fairly simple. You've actually seen it in the brand new Nexus strike. The Guardian who picks up the relic will need to utilize it to kill adds that are going to spawn around the battlefield, building up their super. Once they've got that super, they need to utilize it to break the Templar's shield, which will allow you to damage him for a short period of time. After that time is up, the Templar will attempt to teleport to one of several spots on the battlefield, and then the phase will start again. The Guardian with the relic will go back to building up super by killing enemies, and then they'll fire that super at the Templar, breaking his shield, opening him up for another damage phase. Now, a couple of notes about this encounter. 1, Oracles will spawn, and if you don't deal with them, you will get marked. Thankfully, the relic has an ability to cleanse all marked fire team members. So, if your team misses an Oracle, everyone can just stack up on the relic holder and he can manually cleanse them. This has actually become the main strategy for this fight. Rather than running around the battlefield looking for the Oracles, generally teams like to stack up over on the big rock on right side. From there, you generally have plenty of cover to hide from both the Harpies and the Templar himself. And it makes it very easy for the relic holder to call out his super shots as well as cleanse the party when you miss an Oracle. Now, a few things to note here. One, when you break the Templar's shield, he is going to randomly cast a detain bubble on 3 members of your fire team. Those Guardians will need to break that detain bubble before they can deal any damage to the Templar himself. And if they're utilizing rockets, they'll need to break the detain bubble before they fire those rockets, or else they'll wind up killing themselves inside of their detain bubble. So if you're a rocket user, just be careful and don't fire those rockets until you know you're not detained. And additionally, you can actually see where the Templar is going to attempt to teleport to, as the target location will have a glowing white ring on the ground around it. And if one Guardian happens to make their way inside of that ring before the Templar teleports, you can actually prevent him from teleporting entirely, which will allow you to continue your burn phase on him until he attempts to teleport again. Now be warned, if you do prevent a teleport, it's going to spawn Minotaurs across the battlefield. But that's pretty much it. If you're managing your damage, you should be able to break his shield, burn him down, either prevent the teleport and continue your burn phase, or wait for him to teleport and then start it all over again. As long as your team is situated over on the right side, they should have plenty of cover to help them stay alive. Once you finish the Mega Man 2 style jumping puzzle, you'll find yourself at the gates of the Vault of Glass, and beyond them lies your next mini-boss, the Gatekeeper. Now this section's interesting as you'll need to kill the Gatekeeper 3 times, one in the present, one in the past, and one in the future. The left side is the past, the right side is the future. Just like the first section of the raid, you'll need to have a Guardian stand on both sync plates to open up the portals in front of them. First and foremost, your job here is to destroy the Gatekeeper, which will allow you to utilize the sync plates to head into the past and the future, and will despawn some of the adds. This is best done by sitting outside of the vault door, lining everyone up with snipers or heavy, and then blasting him and burning him down before he has a chance to teleport away. Once the Gatekeeper is dead, your team should head inside and split once again into 3 groups of 2. 2 people on left, 2 people on right, and at least 1 person in the mid. The Guardians on the left and right sync plate have a simple job. You need at least 1 Guardian on the left and right sync plates to open the portals to past and the future. Then, while someone outside is keeping those portals open, you need to send 1 or 2 people in to kill the Gatekeeper in both the past and the future. Now, killing the Gatekeeper inside either of those portals is going to have 3 effects. 1, it's going to drop a relic that's functionally identical to the one used by the Templar earlier in the raid. One of the Guardians in the portal needs to grab that and head out. The second effect is that any Guardian inside that portal is going to be immediately hit with a debuff called Marked by the Void. While the debuff is active, your screen is going to get progressively darker until you can no longer see anything at all. Eventually, you'll start taking damage and die, and this debuff can only be removed through the use of the Relic's Cleanse ability. The third thing that's going to happen is the moment you kill that Gatekeeper, outside of the portals, a Conflux is going to spawn in the middle. This is what your mid team is for. Their job is to protect that Conflux until both players on the left and the right side come out with their relics and converge in the middle. So, once your portal teams have grabbed their individual relics, they need to head outside of their portals, cleanse themselves, and then join the middle team to protect the Conflux from some Minotaurs that are going to spawn and attempt to sacrifice to it. If you're one of your team's relic holders, once you get outside of the portal, head around to the back side of it and wait. Ancient major level Minotaurs will spawn periodically and attempt to make their way to the Conflux from your portal. Strategy-wise, you only really need to send 1 person to mid to handle the Minotaurs that are going to be spawning there, and that should leave you 1 extra Guardian to help with both the left and right side portal Gatekeepers. Once the encounter ends, prepare yourself. You're about to be thrust headfirst into battle with the final boss of the Vault of Glass. Atheon. Phase 1, you're going to have a team of 3 inside either the left or right side portal destroying oracles and grabbing the relic inside, bringing it outside to start off Phase 2. As I said before, these 3 Guardians will be ported either to the left or the right side, and they'll need to announce that to their fire team, so that the fire team members who are outside of the portal can move over to the corresponding sync plate to make sure that the door is open for the portal team to come back to the present. So, if you get teleported to the reddish-brown Mars-looking area, you're in the past and the outside team needs to head to the left sync plate. If you get teleported to the lush green Venus-looking area, that means you're in the future. And the outside team needs to make their way over to the right sync plate to open the portal. Alright, now let's talk a little bit about what happens inside those portals. Once the boss opens the time stream and you're randomly ported to either the past or the future, you'll have 3 Guardians inside along with a relic. One of you needs to grab that relic immediately. The Guardians inside the portal have to kill a group of adds that will vary depending on whether they're in the past or the future, and a series of oracles that's going to spawn inside of those rooms. And then, while the relic holder is taking care of the adds that are spawned inside the portal, the fire team needs to slowly make their way forward, wiping out all of the oracles as they slowly move towards the portal to exit. Additionally, if you get ported, you're also immediately going to be marked by the void, so your screen is going to get progressively darker until you die. It's the relic holder's job to make his way to his fire team members, have them bunch up, and cleanse them while they're destroying oracles. Just make sure you always have someone standing on the correct sync plate to make sure that portal door stays open. After you've wiped out all the oracles, the teleported team needs to make their way outside of the portal and to the middle platform where they can start off the damage phase. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about the responsibilities of the team that didn't get ported. For the Guardians who stayed outside, your job is pretty simple. Just make sure that the door to the portal is open. Meaning if your fire team got ported to the past, make sure you've got somebody on the left side sync plate keeping that portal door open, and vice versa for the right side on the future. Also take note that if you're part of the team that didn't get ported, you will get a detain bubble put on you, and you'll need to make sure you break that before too long. After the relic team initially gets ported, Atheon is going to summon a bunch of supplicants. These are the harpies from earlier that will self-detonate if they get too close to you. The general strategy here, if you're outside of the portal, is to stand on top of the pillars that are in the middle of the sync plates. That'll generally keep you far enough away from the supplicants that they won't be able to trigger their self-destruct. Just destroy them as soon as they pop up, and make sure they aren't all sitting around the portal that your fire team members are about to come out from. Then, once your relic team has come out from either the past or the future, they should call for everyone to move to the center island. This is where you're going to start your damage phase. When the portal team concludes killing all of the adds and oracles in their portal room, the entire raid group will be granted a buff called Time's Vengeance, and allows you to deal a massive amount of damage to the boss. So, have everyone head to the center island and make sure your relic holder throws up the relic shield immediately. This will protect you from all incoming damage so long as that shield is up, and allow you to sit back and casually blaze down the boss. So the non-relic holding team members should focus on dealing as much damage as possible. If you're using rockets to damage the boss, be careful with them. Once the Time's Vengeance buff gets to about 5 seconds, all of the Guardians should basically leave the center platform and head to cover. And then from there, the phase will start over again. After a few seconds, Atheon will teleport 3 more random Guardians, and you can just run this all over again. The teleported crew will grab the relic, clear the oracles, and make their way towards the portal, while the outside crew will make sure that portal is open and that there are no supplicants around it. After that, everyone heads back to mid and starts up another damage phase on the boss until he's dead. But alright Guardians, that pretty much concludes our guide for the Vault of Glass. There are a few nuances we left out, but that should overall give some of you Guardians who never got a chance to play this back in its day a bit of an idea for exactly how this raid rolls. The Vault of Glass alongside Crota's End and King's Fall and the Prison of Elders are all returning with the Age of Triumph coming out later this month on March 28th. Are you psyched about the Vault of Glass? Do you have some additional tips for the new time players? Be sure to let us know. That's it for this one. As always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians stay frosty, and I'll see you in the Aetus Triumphi.